All right, everyone out there, it's good pop here, but don't let this shirt fool you, because I got some bad news. All right, over the past couple years, I've received a lot of emails in regards to PTSD and how I cope. God damn it! And I have been compartmentalizing those, but it's starting to affect a lot of good people and some friends I know and some dear friends close to me. I'm not gonna ignore it anymore. I received a lot of emails. I don't have time to read them all to you, but I picked out 5 or 6 of the choice sentences and I'm gonna read those to you here. You have seen 3 wars. How do you cope? 1, booze. 2, meditation. 3, modified insanity, is from here. And 4, laughing your ass off. Helps a lot. What are your mental tricks you use to live a normal life? Wow, I am so not normal. It's unbelievable. Okay. Since my return from Afghanistan, all I want to do is go back there. Do you get these feelings also? You have nothing to fear, you're totally normal. That's exactly how you're supposed to think. Do you recommend a counselor for the treatment of PTSD? If you're going to a counselor for PTSD that's war-related, you should probably see a counselor who's actually been to war, because it really helps to have a guy there who's been there, done that. Do you have to go to war to get PTSD? My answer to you is no, ass bag. And with that being said, it's a serious issue, so pour yourself some liquid sleep with 3 ice cubes and let us begin. Yeah. So I've thought about this particular situation in depth, and I've had to combat the symptoms for a quarter of a century. I think I have a little bit of experience weathering the storm, like any storm. Okay, you're gonna have a good day, you're gonna have a bad day. Maybe it'll be a thick storm, maybe it'll be light. And on a couple times, you're gonna have to run for cover. PTSD comes in 3 main forms, in my experience. 1, you have environmental and situational. Environmental is your mind has to adapt to the insanity that you're operating in. Basically, you're in the box. You're getting mortared, you're getting shot at, you gotta roll down roads that have IEDs. I remember a couple times, I wouldn't even go to the bunker where we're getting mortared. I'd be like, that's way over there, I'm fine. I'm gonna go eat a can of tuna, f it. Okay, this is a representation of your actual brain pan. And this cone here, which looks like a dunce cone because it's stupid, but this actually represents all the rules, laws, social norms that take place within the society in which you live. And these beans, these represent the experiences of what's going on around you and how where you live shields you from a lot of this stuff and you don't even know it. All right, I'm gonna pour these in here and we're gonna see what happens. As you can see from the mess, that where you live and the society you live in limits what goes into your head. This is your brain before war. All right, before you go over there and get adapted to the situation, okay? And when you go over into the box, this is what takes place. These social norms, they're gone. Laws, it's kill or be killed, very few laws. And, the society and rules that you live in don't apply to you because you're somewhere else. So this pretty much is gone. Okay, so we're gonna pour all this out. And we're gonna try again. See the difference? Your mind has adapted to dealing with all of this stimulus. Once this happens, it never goes back. You have to learn to live with it. And it's not abnormal. It's what happens when you go to war. It's a totally normal response. While you're over there, you hate being there. You hate everything about it. Then you come home and you want to go back. Guess what? Environmental PTSD, you got it. No, there's no yes in this episode. Situational is basically the job that you conducted while you're over there. Okay, this is basically for the combat guys. Every time that you step into the eye of oblivion and you wish to return, you must take nothing with you, okay? You cannot take the love of your children, wife, God, nothing. It's just you and oblivion. Because if you do, at the moment of truth, you'll hesitate. Boom! And the problem with situational PTSD is every time you step into the eye of oblivion, you bring a little bit of it back with you. And that's what's hard to live with. Because guess what? Gonorrhea! No. You get used to shutting off your emotions, you come back, it's real hard to turn them back on. You feel dead inside, I got it. Been there, done that. Okay, here's some symptoms that you guys usually deal with, at least I have. Anger, aggression. Sometimes you wake up and you're just pissed off for no apparent reason. They lost their love of life. There was a time back in the day that I didn't really want to be here anymore. You gotta find your joy. You gotta find your ridiculous. I'm just a dude and a beer in a basement with a whiteboard. Okay, you gotta find your ridiculous and you gotta live it. You engage in risky behavior? Not that I know anything about this or anything, but this is where you get those videos on the internet of dudes blowing stuff up in their backyard, setting huge Mangasso fires, or going to the special adult clinic to get rotted off the range because, you guessed it, raw dog in the road whore. Mental fog. I'm gonna show you exactly what this looks like. Huh? I literally, I stand in front of like formations of dudes and I'll be like, and I'll see that one dude in the back like, I'll be, come here you, come here. And you're also very hyper vigilant. Go in your backyard, check out the squirrel trying to raid the bird feeder. It's not the bottom of the food chain, but the only thing below it is pretty much an acorn. Everything else above it wants to kill it and eat it. Always on edge all the time. Oh. Second one here is you see a traumatic event. Traumatic events are not specifically for combat dudes, okay? Cops, firefighters, young kids growing up in abusive homes trying to get over it. I want you to imagine a projector running in the back of your head, playing the scene over and over and over again in your mind. Okay, we're programmed to deal with stress in a certain way, and it's usually healthy for us because, you know, you run away from the bear, a burst of adrenaline once in a while if your life is in danger. But if you're doing that 30, 40 times a day, it has a lot of negative impacts on your mind and your physical well-being. Here's some common traumatic event symptoms. Avoidance. You don't want to think about it, you don't want to talk about it, and you don't want to do anything that might remind you of it. Memory issues. It's playing in the back of your mind. It's like a computer with a virus. When the viruses get too big, that's too much bandwidth, and then you don't function properly. You're slow. Health decline, because you're living it over and over and over and over again. You're building up huge amounts of cortisol. You're self-medicating. You're avoiding. The traumatic event is triggering within you guilt and shame. Those are two anchors that are going to pull you down. Samurais used to kill themselves over shame. There is no S on my chest. I'm not a superhero, nor am I, inhuman. I'm just a dude, and so are you. You can do superhuman shit. But usually you can only do it once, and that's the end of it. But, you have to accept the fact that you're just a dude, and whoever got it, it was their time, and that's just the way it is. Number 3, which is the last but not least, which I think is the worst one, and I refer to it as soul cancer. And this is the one where people kill themselves over all the time, is when you have to do something that conflicts directly with your ethics, morals, or values, depending upon if you're an atheist or not. Typically, if you went into a war zone, you're no longer an atheist, because there are no atheists in foxholes. It's just that simple. And the big symptoms of that is shame and guilt. I was partially raised by my grandfather, who was an Episcopal minister. So every Sunday, went to church, Sunday school, have the 10 Commandments pounded into your head. Years later, you're over in the box, and you gotta drop the hammer on some people. I'm really worried about my review when I leave this place, because I don't think I'm gonna get a reference. No. And the big question, I know it's in the back of all of your minds, how do you combat this? What do you do? It doesn't exist in the real world, it's in your head. How do you fight that? You have to accept it. It happened, it is what it is, and you have to forgive yourself. Accept and forgiveness is the core of all of this bullshit. I know a lot of you out there wish you could jump into the DeLorean and go 88 miles an hour and go back in time and change it. But we can't do that. So guess what you have to do? You have to learn to take the hits and keep moving forward. I know a lot of guys that came back, got heavy into Jesus or what have you, and they're doing just fine. Some of these guys like to get over the past by getting on their knees. I myself like to get a couple ladies to get on their knees, but that's just me. Self-medication. And you gotta be careful that it doesn't turn into an addiction, because then you're gonna have 2 problems on your hand. You're gonna be an addict and you're gonna have PTSD. Boom! So next time you're at the bar and you see a dude throwing him back, before you open your suck hole and call him an alcoholic, you better remember that all of us, we're all fighting our own battle. So with that piece of great information, time to drink. One I really like is meditation. That Kwai Jane Kang Kung Fu stuff, that really works. You might want to give it a shot. Winning meditation, no for self-medication, even though I do it myself. And this really isn't that healthy, but it is effective. Preoccupy yourself and burn up all your time. You're always doing something, you're always busy, because you're not giving yourself any time to think about the situation at hand. Remember Beavis and Butthead when he did the cornholio? That'll be you.
Are you threatening me?
Compartmentalization. Basically, you just trim off the bad parts, you throw it in a box, you chain it shut, and store it under the stairs by the service entrance in the back of your head. I know you're like, Pop, this isn't funny. You're pulling out some heavy stuff. Listen, 22 vets a day are killing themselves. And a lot of them are killing themselves because they don't know how to handle the situation. It's no laughing matter. This is it. PTSD in a nutshell. Maybe you laughed, maybe you learned something. But hey, if it helped one guy out there, it's well worth it. And speaking about helping out a dude, why don't you check out our Patreon link and PayPal links below. Throw us some loot so we can keep doing this. While you're at it, please hit the subscribe button. Because if you do, when you go to the bar next time and you want to self-medicate, first round's on me. I've basically been compartmentalizing that for quite some time. But it's forgivenation. Blah, blah, blah. It's only 3 beers. This is shit beer too. Forgivenation. You're about to receive a digital penis in the ass. It tastes like water that comes out of a dirty rain barrel when you have to do something. Yeah, when you do. I have to read it.
When you have to do something.
When you have to do something.